new frontiers of making changes and creating wealth. And I discovered that the biggest obstacle to everybody's success was themselves. First of all, once again, I would like to thank everybody for coming out here today, to hearing me speak and being a part of this group. I believe that each and every one of you is a winner because you took time out of your busy day to invest in yourself. I believe that this game of life is all played in your head. If you close your eyes right now and open them, you have the money that you believe you deserve to make. You have the spouse or the friend that you believe you deserve to have. You have the health and the wealth and the success that you believe you deserve. And so today, I would like to help you get rid of those would-haves, could-haves, and should-haves and destroy the roadblocks that have been holding you back from what you're entitled to as unlimited health, wealth, and happiness. For the last 50 years, I've been a professional photographer. And early on, I discovered that when people came to get their pictures taken, they were very negative. And so I developed the skill to change their physiology, their body language from negative and drab. So I changed their physiology, and then I changed what went in their mind. I broke that stream that was going, that self-talk that was going on in their head, and I was able to take average people and find the beauty in them and bring out happiness and pleasure and optimism. I said to myself one day, self, if you can do this for strangers, how more so you should be able to do it to yourself. So I decided that I would begin the journey of taking control on what goes into my mind and only move away from negativity, move away from pain and sorrow, and move into happiness and joy. A friend of mine just told me an interesting story. He worked as a counselor in a halfway house where there was recovering drug addicts and alcoholics who had committed crimes under the influence. And he took the night shift, and he discovered a real interesting behavior. He noticed that when any of the inmates would go into a dark room, they would walk into the room, bump into a lot of different furniture, and grab the radio and turn it on, then go back, bump into some more furniture, and turn on the light switch. Whereas the people who were the doctors or the employees would just reach in, fumble around, find the light switch, and walk into the room that was lit up. And the discovery or the thought process that this counselor came to was that these people were in so much pain with their self-talk. They were in so much hurt that they couldn't stand to be with themselves. And so again, I would like to introduce you to a Gary Miller philosophy of breaking that negative mindset, but again, putting in what's missing. They didn't put in anything, they just took what was on the radio, anything random. I'm going to teach you how you are in control of your thoughts, and therefore you're going to be in control of your life. There's a couple things that I would like to do so we're on the same page. I would like to show you how I start off my morning every day before my wife wakes up. I go in front of the mirror, and if everybody could repeat these few sentences that I'm going to give you, maybe it'll empower you to get on the same page as me. So number one, repeat after me. I am a special and unique individual. I deserve to be happy. I deserve to be healthy. And most of all, I deserve to be wealthy. Okay. We're going to have to get rid of a couple other. I want you to get rid of 2 words out of your vocabulary before I start my talk. What? I'm already a half hour in. No, So anyway, whatever it is. So anyways, the first word I would like you to get out of your vocabulary is the word can't. When you see the word can't, C-A-N''T, I want you to visualize taking your fist and smashing that T. And what are you developing? What word are you changing the can't into? Can. And so I developed years ago the Yes I Can card. I believe that this life is really a test to see how much you love yourself. People nowadays are going, we have to tell everybody they're good boys and good girls. We have to give them trophies even just for participating. They're looking to their mommy, their daddy, their soulmate, their spouse, their friend to say you're doing a good job. And I'm telling you that you can be your own cheerleader, and that while you're in this seminar, when you hear something that you might think is a little difficult to tolerate, I want you to have that yes I can attitude. Also, number 2, I want you to get rid of one other word, but. I'm going to do what Gary Miller says. It sounds really interesting, but I've got something planned tomorrow. But I'm busy. Oh, I got to wait till the beginning of the year. Get rid of the but. We're going to do it today for this seminar, and then hopefully you're going to continue the habit. I've discovered in life that there's 2 types of attitudes, 2 types of thinking. There's the winner thinking, and there's the loser thinking. The winner says, oh, Gary Miller says I should try this. I'm going to try it. He tries it and fails. And what he says to himself is, usually I don't fail. I'm going to try a different spin, and I'm going to do it again. And he tries it and does. It's a little bit better. And then all of a sudden he fails again, and he says, you know something? I think I'm getting closer. Whereas a loser says, oh my God, this is unbelievable. I heard this speaker, what's his name? And Gary Miller, right? And I'm going to try it. And he goes and he tries some of the things that I'm going to talk about, and he fails. And he goes, oh, woe is me. I'm really a loser. Why? I'm never going to try anything again like this. This is what I deserve to be. And so we're going to take you and move you from this negativity, from this loser's mindset into a positive mindset. For the last 50 years, I told you I've been a professional photographer. Again, I learned how to change people's mindset. And so what I'm going to do is, again, share these secrets with you. I've evolved over my career in a lot of different ways, and I'm going to take you through my evolution. 30 years ago, because I thought it was so important to share ideas with people, I created this tape series, New Frontiers of Making Changes and Creating Wealth. Every time I gave a seminar, people would tell me, that sounds very good, Gary, and I know you can do it, but they used the words, I can't do it. And they said, you're just lucky. So I said to myself, what's the definition of luck? The definition of luck is when opportunity meets preparedness. So if you have a dream, if you have a goal that you're setting out to do, every day you should be reading and learning in that direction, because when that opportunity knocks at the door, you will be prepared. So I want to talk to you about some of the ideas that I came up with 30 years ago. Number 1, I came up with the idea, first of all, I'm going to talk about my youth. As a young child, I was heavy set. I couldn't play ball with the other kids. I was uncoordinated. In school, I couldn't read well. I couldn't write well. But I had one trait, that I would always go to the things that made me happy. The things I couldn't do in the negativity, I moved out of the way into happiness. And if I couldn't do it at that time, instead of beating myself up, I just said, someday I'll take care of that. And so all the other kids in grade school, some knew they were going to be firemen, some knew they were going to be policemen, knew they were going to be judges, and had all these great dreams. I didn't know what I was going to be, but I said, I'll find out. So at 9 years old, my father takes me to the Eastern Market. I always liked animals because they never rejected me. They always loved me for who I was. And I saw this little duckling, and I said to my father, can I buy this duckling? He says, no. I said, please, Dad. He says, well, you have money, you buy it. So I gave the person 75 cents, and I bought myself my first little pet. I took it home and I'm playing with it on the porch, and it's following me around, this little yellow duckling chirping, and the neighbor guy across the street comes over, he says, I want that duck. I said, I just bought it. He says, I want to buy it from you. He said, how much did you pay? I said, I paid 75 cents. He says, I'll give you $1 for your duck. It was more important for me to make the 25 cents than it was to have the duckling. The law of attraction saw that I wanted to sell things and I wanted to also have more ducks. And someone told me that week that Sears and Roebuck catalog will send you baby ducklings through the mail. Called up, ordered 35 ducks at 35 cents a piece. They came in. I put them in my little red wagon with a sign, a duck for $1. I found out that you had to sell 2 ducks because they would die of loneliness. That's $2 and $1 for the food. So at 9 years old, I'm going around with a wagon, a duck for $1 and making money. And that year, the next year, Palmer Park had hundreds of white Peking ducks flooding their pond. So I had an idea, maybe I could be a salesman. All right, I'm about 11 years old. My father has, the first time we did a father and son thing, he had a camera day with adults. I took my little box camera. I'm going around at Cranbrook out there taking pictures, and I discovered that as a young kid, 11, if I have a camera in my hand and I tell an adult to move over, come here, or smile, they take orders from me. I said, this is good. I put it in the filing system. The next year, I'm in 8th grade. A counselor from Mumford High School comes over and tells us the courses that we have to take. And then she mentioned there's an elective of photography. I said, wow, I had a great experience. So I made a check by that. I signed up for the course of photography, and I discovered I could do that. And I got A's in photography and D's and C minuses in my normal class, but I had something that I could do. And then I decided, the young girls wouldn't look at me because I didn't have any money and I wasn't good looking, a little fat little boy. And I learned to make women beautiful. And now I could go and tell the girls, oh, come in front of my camera, I'm going to take a great picture of you. And the people who would normally not talk to me would pay attention. All of a sudden, these young girls turned into young girls that are having sweet 16s. I'm a photographer. I had my own darkroom. I took the pictures, and I would take my bicycle, ride to the house of the parents with a complete album, pictures and a book, and I tell them, look at these pictures I just took for you for your daughter's sweet 16. They go, great. How much is that? $75, which was not much in those days. Come back tonight, my husband will pay you. I'd come, ride my bicycle back to the house, and I'd come to the door, and the woman wouldn't be smiling and greeting me. She wasn't so happy, didn't invite me in. She gave me that look that your mother gives you when you did something wrong. All of a sudden, the father comes out and doesn't invite me in the house and said, we looked at your pictures, Gary, and they're really not good. I'm going to give you $25. I'm going, $25? Grab my book, and I start walking down the path there. He says, where are you going? I said, well, you don't want pictures. He says, come back. So he says, I'll tell you what, they're not that good. I'll give you $50. I grab the book. This time I run down. I get on my bike. Where are you going? You don't want your pictures. He calls me back 3 or 4 times. We do this dance. He gives me my money. He tells me I'm a crummy photographer, but you're a good salesman. Oh, now the universe is telling me I'm a salesman. So I discovered what is known as the Doberman Principle. What is the Doberman Principle? Doberman Principle means this. You're walking down the street. All of a sudden you come down a path, make a turn, and there's a 100-pound Doberman Pinscher going. Well, you have different choices. Choice number 1, stand still. The dog growls, foams at the mouth, and is intimidating. Run away, the dog bites you in the, we can't use that word, we took that out. It bites you in the butt. But I discovered that when you see a bully, when you see something intimidating, when you walk towards that, the bullies are chicken. The fear is not real. You go and you get in their face. You want to fight ISIS? You want to do it? You get in their face. When you're running and you're cowering and you're unprotected, you're a victim. depending on your stature. If you walk like a man, you're a man. If you walk like a victim, you're a victim. And you're constantly broadcasting to the world where you are on your pecking order. So I decided at that time I would start moving in that direction. Another thing is this, that I would go and I would talk to experts about. I go into a studio one day, I was in Toronto, and I walked into a studio and they introduced me, the secretary introduced me to the owner. He spent a half a day telling me about target markets, about taking pictures, about getting non-competing people to help promote you. And it changed my life. So I said, my goodness, I'm not going to go to unexperienced people if I want advice. If I want advice, I'm going to someone who's doing what I want. Take an expert to lunch. Take an expert to dinner. Be with successful people. You cannot fly with the eagles if you peck with the turkeys. If you sit there, I'm going to skip into the next lecture. I got to tell you one thing. So anyways, I spoke all over the United States for most of the professional photography associations. Kodak hired me to represent and talk to them. I spoke nationally at Professional Photographers of America and Wedding Photographers International. And I made 500 copies of this tape series, and I found out that the principles worked so well that even though they gave me a couple $1,000s to speak, I couldn't afford to speak because I was making more money in my business. So 30 years passed, and I decided that it was time to create another venue. So I decided to write a book. I didn't know how to write. So in this book it talks about what I did is I analyzed all my weaknesses that talked about this. I was afraid of water. I took up scuba diving. I was afraid of heights. I took up skiing out west and eventually in Italy in the Alps. I was afraid to speak in front of people. I went to Toastmasters. I couldn't write very well. I became an author. One day I was on 7 in Livernois. I was just in high school. I talked to the wrong guy's girlfriend, and 9 guys jumped me on there. I didn't know how to defend myself, and they didn't beat me up too much because I'm a pretty big guy. But the next week I was in Isshin-ryu karate learning how to defend myself. And one secret is, when you know how to defend yourself and you walk proud and up, when you know it, people seem to get the message and they don't bother you. So even though I learned how to defend myself, I never had to use it because I had that walk and that talk. So anyways, getting back to this. So after 30 years of being at rest, I decided that I would write a book. The first title of my book was All Dreams Come True. And I believed with this philosophy, instead of looking at myself, I believed that everything you hear and every person you meet is there to take you where you want to go. The only way that you recognize they're there for you is if you have a goal. So if you have a goal, if you have a question, somebody is going to come there to answer that question. God, the universe, will send you a person to take you where you want to go. And in this, I talked about dreaming big dreams. I believe that as you dream, you become, but you only get what you earn and what you work for, no more, no less. So if you have a dream of being a great photographer, but you never pick up a camera and become an expert, it doesn't matter. You'll get the opportunity, but you won't have the preparedness to make that opportunity. The real cinch of this All Dreams Come True came to me when in college. I always wanted, or after I got married, I always wanted to have a horse. But I was afraid of horses, and whenever I rode a horse, it was always bumpy and I couldn't walk. I was afraid of horses, and one day my father gave me a horseshoe ring. And every day, 2 or 3 or 4 people would say, "Do you have a horse? Do you have a horse?" And I go, "No, I don't have a horse. I'm afraid of horses. I can't afford a horse. Who needs a horse? A horse is out of my, I'm afraid of," I would make every excuse. But for a whole year, this question would come up. So I'm thinking horse, own horse. A guy comes into my studio, which was out of my house at that time. He said to me, after booking me for the wedding, that he owns a couple horses and he'll take me riding to the place where he bought it. I figured I would go with him, lie to the owner, and tell him I'm going to buy a horse. I'd ride 3-4 times for free and I'd be done with it. Before I got off the first horse, I owned it. So whatever you put in your mind, whatever you dream about, whatever your goals are, comes to fruition. I started to do love stories where people would fly me all over the world. I would take a bride and the groom and we would fly to Aspen or Cancun, Mexico, different places, and I would take pictures of these people having fun and enjoying it, and then we would come to their wedding with a giant 13-foot screen and we would show this love story. And before I did it, I had the vision of doing it, and I met a customer who was going to Aspen, and I said, why don't you take me with you, and why should we just do a boring thing in the city of Detroit, you know? All of a sudden we're in Detroit, and the next minute we're in Aspen. Let's try it. And I planted that in their head, and next minute I am in Aspen. That was before I went skiing. I was afraid of the heights, but I did it. But I saw an interesting thing. With that couple, we went dog sledding. And when you look at a team of dogs, I came to one realization. The only dog with a change of scenery was the head dog. I don't know where those other dogs are. Oh, we can't use the word but again. Oh, you know, I shouldn't have taken it out of my talk until later. But anyways, where do you want to go? Where do you fit on the pecking order? What do you deserve? What would you dream? What would you attempt if you knew you couldn't fail? What great dream would you conquer if you knew you couldn't fail? And that's what I want to encourage you. So I had this all dreams come true, and everybody tells me, first of all, I look like an idiot with the cigar. Who do you think you are with the cigar? Okay, I thought I looked like an intellectual. Second of all, so it said, you can have an ordinary life or an extraordinary life. The choice is up to you. So everybody told me all dreams might come true. All dreams can come true. They might come true. They may become true. They fought with that title. So I said to them, okay, you want to go to war? All right, let's get a new title. Let's forget this title. Let's go to war. So I strapped on my .45, put my trusty steed next to me, and I decided, go to war against what? Fear and doubt. Who's the biggest blockage? Who's if you're going to tell yourself you can't do it, you're the one who's holding you back. I discovered something really unusual when I got this title. I discovered that everything that I was afraid of, once I attempted it, that was my stepping stone to the next level of success. So in this book, I chinked it and I switched things around. And I said to him, this girl's afraid of water, this one's afraid of heights, this one's afraid of this. Nobody has the same fears. So the universe sends you your set of fears so you are alert, you look, and you move in their direction, and you find out, unbelievable, I'm afraid to speak. I don't know how to speak. You get up and do it, and you build that muscle. So resistance is your friend. The more you do the thing you fear, and you fear it no more. I thought I was funny. Looking at this crowd who's sleeping, I know I'm not that funny. I brought my wife. I give her the signal, laugh. So anyways, I went to Joey's Comedy Castle, and I learned how to do stand-up comedy. Whatever it is that's your dream, go find a teacher and go do it. And that's what I want to encourage you to do. Dream those big dreams. Have those goals. Positive self-talk. Whatever you fear, move in its face, and you will get exactly what you deserve. Unlimited. You are in control of the spigot of health, wealth, and happiness. You deserve as much as you believe. From that Aspen wedding, a woman calls me from California. Am I almost out of time? I got time for one more story. She says, do you mind taking my husband's birthday party in Cancun, Mexico? I said, no, fantastic. I went to Cancun, Mexico, and I discovered that I was surrounded by millionaires. Some people even flew their own jets. The secret that I discovered spending a week with these millionaires is that they had the nerve to dream big dreams. They didn't go after life with a teaspoon. They went with bulldozer. So I will take your questions. If you're interested, I'll have some books here for you. I'm not signed out because I'm not famous like Frank. So we do have some copies of the book. I'll answer some questions right now. And does anybody have any questions? Is anybody awake? Go ahead, Ike.